Do you know why? Why doesn't it have any quotation marks? I have a qualm. A qualm. Life is a qualm. I have a qualm with normal people. Not a single one. Anywhere in it. No quotation marks in this entire book. Why? Why? Okay. Now that I've asked the question that many times, look. None. Not a single quotation mark anywhere on this page. Or any of the others. Oh gosh. I am so old. I'm so old I cannot do this without coffee. Maybe it's a sign of me being a little bit less well-read than I thought I was. But I have never come across this before. I've never seen a book that doesn't use quotation marks. And there is a lot of talking, there's a lot of dialogue, and there's no marker to show the difference between the voice of the narrator and the voice of somebody actively speaking. And I find it very, very distracting, very frustrating, very hard to read. Why doesn't normal people have any speech marks? It makes me very... it makes me really uneasy, and it makes my reading process a lot slower. I'm only up to the first chapter and then 2 more pages because I thought maybe the second chapter would have something different about it, but it was just more of the same, and it's well written and it flows nicely and there's interesting characters already and I like the dialogue. My brain processes words in speech differently to in narration, so when I see the speech marks, I know that the voice has changed into a different person, like a character is talking now instead of the narrator, and that's a distinct change. And I've never known that I had such a reliance on quotation marks before until this book. But what's very frustrating is that it doesn't seem to be a literary choice, like a decision for a reason. It's not like a trick. There's no clever use of the punctuation or clever lack of use of quotation marks. It's just not there. I was doing my 5 seconds of research and I read that Sally Rooney's first book is called Conversations with Friends, and it didn't use quotation marks either, but this was a clever literary device to show how important the conversations were to the storyline. And I was like, okay, that's annoying, but it makes sense. Is there a purpose in this? Does anybody know the reason why? The only other thing that I saw on here that she had said was that in normal people, Sally just didn't include them. She just didn't because she never does. I also read somewhere that it was a very Irish thing, that lots of other authors do this, and if it is an Irish thing, then why? Is their primary school lacking in the teaching of quotation marks? Did they not learn how to quote somebody? How to differentiate between speech and the written word? And that's all the book is. And the dialogue in this is the author quoting what the character is saying. She also notes it's in first person, right? So it's present tense. It's happening now. And she goes on to say that isn't the whole thing speech then? And yes, that's the even more reason to have quotation marks, to differentiate between the voice of the narrator and the voice of the characters. It's like a fundamental basic of writing that helps me to understand what is happening in the story, and I really miss it. I did have the idea of going through the entire book and putting in the speech marks so it would be easier for me to read, but then I realised by doing that I will have already read the book, so it'll be just as frustrating and just as slow to do that. Hopefully my mind will get into the pattern of the book. So I'll leave you with this image that to me, reading this book without quotation marks is a bit like watching it on Netflix, except all of the characters are played by the same actor, in the same voice. Is there some spoiler in this book that I'm not getting that will make me go, oh, that's why, that's clever? What are your opinions? How do you read it? Does it slow you down? Do you notice? Does anybody enjoy it? Is there anybody out there who, God forbid, thinks it's better without the quotation marks? Maybe it flows nicer to you. I don't get it. Is it enjoyable? Could it be enjoyable? It's definitely different and interesting. I just need help understanding how somebody could write an amazing book such as this and then leave something so blatantly out of it. I think that's my whole rant. But my whole rant is the question, why doesn't this book have quotation marks? It's got all the other grammar. I just can't do it. I'm trying. I'm really trying. And I will continue to try. And I will finish it. I will. Maybe it's literally just an advertising tool to get people to talk about her and her novel. That's really annoying. I hope that's not it. Anyway, I'm not supposed to sit on the floor for very long. My legs have gone numb. I'm very tired. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. How do you turn this thing off?